has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Darkest Dungeon is about making the most of a bad situation. Quests will fail or must be abandoned. Heroes will die, and when they die, they stay dead. Progress autosaves, so actions are permanent. The game expects a lot out of you. How far will you push your adventures? How much are you willing to risk in your quest to restore the hamlet? What will you sacrifice to save the... And it just interrupts me. Hello everybody and welcome to my playthrough of Darkest Dungeon, or more specifically, a modded playthrough of Darkest Dungeon. Yeah, recently they released their big workshop update for the game, which makes it easier to get mods going on this game. Granted, they existed long before, it was just a little iffy to install them. Now let's start a new campaign. I will be going Radiant, because anybody who has watched my XCOM 2 or my recent Long War 2 playthrough knows that I'm a casual scrub. Of course, I won't be able to fall back on saves coming for this, as it's said in the intro. Sure, they added more than 3 save files. Oops. I got to give it a good name. Let's just go with YouTube, just so I know that this is the one I'm using for my channel. And as for the mods, I'm going with Strong Start, Rebalanced Roster, All Stacks X3 mod price, Trinket Overhaul project, and some class mods. This list may extend as the game goes on, and I will be putting in the description what mods I'm using, but for the time being this is what we've got. And all of them are from the Steam Workshop. So without further ado, let's get this started.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient, pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself And remember, there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell. But in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Well, let's go over a checklist of what's happened. Our ancestor got incredibly bored and decided to unleash unholy horrors upon the world. And just as we're arriving, our stagecoach wrecks in what is apparently bandit country, and our caretaker has disappeared. We're off to a great start. At least we were smart enough to hire a couple of mercenaries to escort us to the hamlet. But without further ado, let's get started.
Brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
Gee, I hope we don't run into one. Oh
Dispatch
no.
this thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
Personally, I'd rather do it subtly and quietly so I don't get every bandit in the area all over me. But whatever. And what you just saw is what can happen when you get surprised, which shouldn't be happening considering our light is still radiant. And yeah, light plays a big part of this game. But I'll go over that when we get to our first real dungeon. Oh, Reynold.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Can't really say their formation is broken when they didn't have one to begin with, and of course he'd only give me 50 gold. But whatever. Let's switch these guys back to their original positions. Oh, looks as though he had a tent for us to search.
Leave nothing unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
I mean, that can be true, but, forgotten places may end up being, you know, already looted.
An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
I mean, I can tell them, but I don't think they're gonna care. And somehow we managed to surprise them on dim lighting when we couldn't surprise one guy on radiant lighting. Alright, let's stun the big guy. Keep in mind, surprising them does not skip their turn. It just means you get to move all of your heroes first for them.
Unnerved, unbalanced.
I'm less worried about the damage to my health than I am about the stress, because stress plays a big part in this game. You do not want that stress reaching 100, because if it does, well, I'm not going to give away exactly what happens, but it's not good. Alright, I'm going to switch these two back so that Dismas can take care of the guy in the back. Because that tracking shot did give him the damage boost, which wasn't going to be enough, apparently. Let's just keep smashing that guy with our sword. Which actually would be cutting him up, not smashing him. Ugh, enough with your blanket fire. We get it, you can shoot us all.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Yes, unlike in most games where enemies simply disappear when they die, in this game, at least if you have the option on, they leave behind a corpse, which can act as a barrier to prevent your heroes from hitting other enemies in the party. However, they will eventually decay on their own, or you can destroy them to get rid of them faster. But if a monster dies from bleed, blight, or a critical hit, there is no corpse to worry about. Good thing to keep in mind that T.O.P attacks
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
don't necessarily, or aren't necessarily just something to do for a little extra damage. Yes, yes. We could return to the hamlet right away, or we could continue adventuring with the bandits' trapped chest. Now, normally, all you would have is 2 pieces of food and whatever you got from the tent and the other group of bandits. But thanks to Strong Start, I now have a skeleton key, which I can use to unlock this trapped chest. What do we got? Let's see. Bleeding Pendant for Hellion only, that's a class we don't have. Vengeful Boots, good for +1 critical. And a couple of deeds. Good, we're gonna need those. Now we can leave. And here we are at the level up screen, where your heroes can gain quirks. Quirks can be either good or bad. In this case, he got a bad one, God-fearing, in which case Reynold will only pray in town for stress relief. I'll go over what that means later. An early riser, ooh, +2 speed if torch is above 75. I like to keep the torch high, so that'll be good. And Dismas, faceless, will not pray or flagellate for stress relief. That's fine, there are other options.
Welcome home, such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
Wow, he wasn't kidding about this place being squalid. I think the only place that's open right now is the graveyard, this decrepit statue, and a stagecoach. Not a good sign that this and this are the only things open. But yeah, this is going to be our main base of operations. It doesn't look like much now, but we will need this. Starting off, let's head to the stagecoach.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
I'd actually be rather concerned if corpses found their way to us. But yeah, starting out, you will always get a Seeker Vestal and a Seeker Plague Doctor. Now these guys...
What better laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield?
These guys are very useful. Unfortunately, the Plague Doctor didn't start out with the 2 skills I wanted her to have, but that can be changed. Now, here's the thing about everything in the hamlet. It can be upgraded. You upgrade it using these relics. Crests, which are used for pretty much everything. Deeds, which are used for this stagecoach, and I believe 1 or 2 other locations. Paintings, and busts. In this case, I'm going to upgrade our barracks.
More arrive, foolishly seeking fortune and glory in this domain of the damned.
Which will increase the number of heroes we can hold. Very important. And the stagecoach network will increase the number of heroes that we can choose from. It's a very useful thing to have. I could upgrade it further to get 4 heroes and have a roster of 16, but I think I'm going to save these for later, because like I said, multiple buildings use multiple of these 3, and everything needs crests, and I do mean everything. But with nothing else, let's embark.
A mecca of madness and morbidity. Your work begins.
Yes, there isn't much we can do in town. Reynold or Dismas are already selected. Let's see. Now, these are preferred positions. This is based upon what skills your character has equipped. Yes, skills have absolutely no cooldown in this game. However, they can only be used from certain locations. So if they're not in a location where they can use it, for example, Plague Grenade can only be used from the back 2 slots, if she is in the front 2 slots, she can't use it. So, never have to worry about them cooling, or not having them available, but you can only use them for certain spots. It's a fair trade-off. The brighter the light, the stronger they are in that position. So, for example, this one is fairly dim. That's because she has 2 skills she can use from that position, but only those 2 skills. Let's see. Ah, good. She's got 3 of the skills that I want her to have. Probably going to get rid of this when I get the chance, because you can change up your character's skills. Now, I can't really use any of these trinkets besides maybe the Vengeful Boots, which I think I'll put on Dismas. Let's see, only one quest, one besides Darkest Dungeon, but there's no way in hell we are going there. Now, let's see. Basically, typically the first of any quest in any area is to explore it. But let's not delay any further, let's grab our provisions.
The cost of preparedness, measured now in gold, later in blood.
Yeah. Now, there are 3 things that I always say that you should bring. That is 2 shovels, food, and a bunch of torches. Now, how much you should bring is dependent on the length of the quest. Seeing as how this is a short one, I'd say bring along... let's go with 12 food, just to be on the safe side, because your heroes will need to eat from time to time. And let's bring along 8 torches. Now, depending on what heroes you're bringing along, you can get some free stuff. In this case, we got a free holy water, a free skeleton key, and a free anti-venom. Now, these types of items serve 2 purposes. The first is taking care of certain debuffs to your party. Sometimes literal debuffs, sometimes a health-based debuff. But they also serve a second purpose. I'll get into that when it comes up. For now, let us embark on our quest. Oh, and I'm going to be cutting out the loading screens for this, so see you once it's loaded. Okay, that was a rather short one, and it seems we have a decent setup for this exploration one. A fairly straight line. We only need to explore 90% of the rooms, but, you know, depending on how many you get, that could mean you have to explore all of them. Ah, and our first curio. Thankfully, it's...
waiting to be spent.
I don't know if I'd call a single torch a fortune, man. Anyways, that was an easy one. That one you always want to go for. And if you're like me, I highly recommend making sure you have radiant light before you enter a room. Because one of 2 things will happen. It'll either be completely empty, or there'll be monsters. Thankfully, though, thanks to our radiant light, that radiant light, which gives us 2 pluses to scouting and 2 pluses to monster surprise, we, well, surprise them. I'm gonna start out with a grape shot from Dismas. Lower all their health. Don't really need to stun them, but I may as well just to be safe. Plus, it will do some damage.
The light, the promise of safety.
Now, one thing that I forgot to bring up is that if you mouse over an enemy, and you check down below, you can see their resistances. Now, as skeletons, they are obviously going to have a very high resistance to bleeding, because they're, well, skeletons, and they have no blood to begin with, but they have very low resistances to everything else. Now, let's see, 4 damage, this guy's only got 3 left. I think I'm safe to just ignore him.
Begone, fiend! Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
Now, here's the thing when it comes to battle rooms. You will get 1 of 3. 1 with a treasure, 1 with a curio, and 1 with just Nothing, just a battle. Now, when you check these curios, make sure to check the names. Because it's an unlocked strongbox, I have no need to use my skeleton key.
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
Oh, free shovel. Nice. Now, keep in mind, anything you buy but don't use, you will get a minor reimbursement at the end of the mission. Keep in mind, you won't get the full price back. Oh, and one thing I always forgot to mention, or that I did forget to mention, always bring a skeleton key
Even the cold stone seems bent on preventing passage.
with you. For a reason I will explain when or if it shows up. Now, this is the reason you always want to bring a shovel. If you don't, you will lose a lot of light and your heroes will gain a lot of stress. Thankfully, though, we brought one, so we gain none of those things. Moving on. Ooh. She is going to be a difficult enemy. Because, here's the thing, there are certain enemies in this game whose sole purpose is to cause your heroes stress. She is one of them. I want to get rid of her as fast as possible. And I used the wrong ability. I meant to use Plague Grenade. Yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about. 20 stress, and it lowers our light. Which, as light gets lower, it causes us some problems. Now, Dismas is losing some health, so let's use a Divine Grace on him. Good, good. Keep up the dodging. Let's use a Zealous Accusation to hit the front two. Get some decent damage off on them. And hit her with a Noxious Blast, which did not work. Shame, because the Blight would have killed her if the blast hadn't.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
But no matter.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
That is true. Never get overconfident.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
Would have really liked to get some scouting here. What scouting does is it basically shows you a certain area and what's down there. You know, traps, curios, whether or not there's a battle in this room or it's simply empty. Ooh, a backpack. Good. Ooh, another free key. And a painting. And another battle. Haven't seen a full party yet, which is odd. Now this time, let me use the proper attack and hit her with a Plague Grenade. Gonna need to get at least one more damage off on her if that Plague's gonna take her out. Oh boy. Okay, let's hit these two with a Zealous Accusation. Good damage. And I'm going to use a Dazzling Light on the Courteson. It'll damage her enough that the Blight will kill her on her next turn. And even if it hadn't, the stun will prevent her from...
Continue the onslaught.
Moving.
Destroy them all.
Now, shouldn't be too difficult to finish off this skeleton. Which, I gotta wonder, why do they have such a low blight resistance? I mean, it's not like they have veins to carry the poison with them, or through their body.
Back to the pit.
Odd. Ooh, a nice emerald. And an heirloom chest. Now, this one you want to use a key on. Ta-da, because you get extra stuff from it. May not seem like we got a lot, but we did. Well then, let's hope we don't get any... Ah, there's a trap.
Mind that such missteps are the exception, and not the rule.
We'll do our best. Yeah, here's the thing about traps. Unless you manage to get a scout off, which reveals the trap, you can't do anything about it. Of course, even when it's revealed, you still... Ooh, perfect. it seems no matter which way I go, I'm going to end up having to deal with a battle. So I'm just going to head this way. The one that doesn't have the trap.
Wealth beyond measure, awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
Jeez, seems like I may as well not even bother buying food at all with all the free all the free food we're getting. Oh yeah, and one other thing.
As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted,
one other thing
and
you can.
purpose is made clear.
Sorry, one other thing is you can also use food directly from the inventory if you need to give your heroes a little boost in energy. However, you can only feed them 4 at a time. But still got a nice boost in health from that. Here's hoping that this last one will count towards the 90%, otherwise I will have to backtrack to that curio room. Ah, full class of 4. And we surprised them. See this guy right here with the goblet? He's another one of those stress inducers. As a matter of fact, I'm going to want to get rid of him as fast as I can. Ah, good good damage from Dismas. And we'll Plague Grenade them both. Plague will finish him off, so I don't need to worry about that. Not much my Vestal can do, but I can try and stun the Bone Defender. Now, this guy has got protection. What does that mean?
The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
Now, what that means is that 25%, in his case, of all damage done to him will be negated. So, say I did 100 damage to him, just as an easy example, he'd only get 75% damage, or 75 damage, because of his protection.
The slow death, unforeseen, unforgiving.
Jeez, these guys have got it out for Dismas. Now, unfortunately, you can't just stun enemies over and over and over again, because after being stunned, they gained a plus 40% stun resistance. As a matter of fact, in the early days of the game, that was actually a valid strategy. You know, get the last enemy, just consistently stun him every single turn, so that your healers could boost the health of your party. Oh, and one other thing about protection, Blight and bleed damage completely ignores it. So feel free to use that to your advantage. Alright, this guy's dead on his next turn, so
another one.
This
falls.
guy. And last we just have the Bone Arbalist, who can only jab us from that position. I may as well use Divine Comfort, hopefully get some stress healing. Not who I was hoping for it on, but oh well. Let's see, hit him with a Noxious Blast. Smash him with the sword.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Good. Don't have to backtrack. Let's check the chest, and seeing as how we didn't get what I was hoping, let's just use the last skeleton key on this. Decent for the early game. Now let's get out of here. Yeah, as you can see, we got partial refunds on this, plus everything we got from the treasures. Good amount of money. Some good early heirlooms, plus what we get as a basic reward. What do we got? Eagle Eye. Unless Accusation counts as a ranged skill, that's pretty much useless to us. Hagiomania. Obsessed with Sainthood. Not sure what that does. Mediator. Improved stress reduction while meditating and while camping. Oh, good. Sickly. Minus 10% disease resist. That's not good. But we did get Wheeled Scrounger. Ruminator. Negative 10% stress healed. And Clotter. Well, gotta take the bad with the good.
All the decadent horrors I have seen pale in comparison to that final, crowning thing. I could not look, nor could I look away.
Yes, yes, negative quirks. It mentions the sanitarium, but we don't have access to that yet, so the information is kinda useless to us. Now, thankfully though, both the tavern and the abbey have opened up, which have given us access to stress relief. First things first, however, let's check this out. Let's see, a pit fighter, that's one of the custom classes I got. A Hellion.
Barbaric rage and unrelenting savagery make for a powerful ally.
Indeed. And the Antiquarian.
She searches where others will not go, and sees what others will not see.
Yeah, Antiquarians aren't all that useful in a fight, but if you really need to get a lot of money, I recommend bringing her along. Trust me on that. Let's see. I typically hold out on sending someone to stress relief until they have at least 4 pips, 4 of these little dots on the stress, so technically Reynold and Dismas can go out for another round, but Gibbard and Corbin are going to need some stress relief.
The cobwebs have been dusted, the pews set straight. The abbey calls to the faithful.
Yes, yes. Now, first upgrade in both the tavern and the abbey is always increasing stress relief, which, let's see, I think I'm going to go for. This is what a lot of your money's going to go to. See, I'm probably going to toss, or upgrade the cloister, toss my Vestal in here. Oh, and one other thing to keep in mind, sometimes the caretaker and one other person we have yet to meet will take up a spot in one of the stress reliefs. So, yeah, keep that in mind, especially if some of your heroes have certain preferences to how they take care of their stress. And now we hit a
Fresh
tavern.
kegs, cards, and curtained rooms promise solace to the weary and broken alike.
Right. Wait, let's make sure that... Yeah, she'll go to the bar. And this is where...
Strong drink, a game of chance, and companionship. The rush of life.
And this is where Gibbard is going to go. That's actually not what I was going to say, but oh well. I could upgrade it again to reduce the cost, but I want to hold off on using the crests for other things that will unlock soon. So, Reynold and Dismas are good to go out. Who else am I going to bring with me? I suppose I could bring the Antiquarian. Let's see. She does have invigorating vapors, which are good for boosting dodge, though I have yet to see it help us. He would be good from the second position. It actually might not be a bad idea to send Dismas into stress heal, because he is very close to getting that 4th pip. You know what, why not?
With enough ale, maybe they can be inured against the horrors below.
No, Hugonin can't go, because she's terrible from the 3rd position. Because she can't do anything from there. Probably should have checked that. Let's see. You will not be refunded the cost. Great. Let's see. Ooh. You can't really do anything from the 3rd position. Really should have thought about that one. Let's see, what do we got here? Dazzling Charm. Vengeful Boots, already got those, and I'm not comfortable sending level 0s off on a medium quest. So I'll probably go for this. Let's see, speed is 3, speed is 4, should probably go first. What can she use from the second position? Wicked Hack. You know what, I'll put her here, put him here, put her here. And let's get our provisions. Again, it's a short one, so I'm going to be taking only 8 torches and 12 food. Keep in mind, if you over-purchase, you can sell it back for the same price that you bought it for, so don't worry if you buy too much of one thing accidentally. And you know what, I'm going to bring a skeleton key and... Ooh, already got a holy water. Alright, let's get a move on.
The fiends must be driven back. And what better place to begin than the seat of our noble line?
Yeah, seems that no matter what, unless I get a scouting here, which reveals that these two are empty, I'm gonna have to do some backtracking. Alright, what do we got? Not bad. I believe these crates always contain stashed heirlooms.
A handsome reward for a task well performed.
What task? All he did was smash open a crate. Alright, let's start off by buffing everybody's dodge. Gives at least some chance to avoid damage. Oh, he actually goes first. Huh. Oh well. Just have to work around that. Not the best first turn.
Executed with impunity.
Indeed. This is just going to be causing me all sorts of problems, isn't it? Should have just stuck with Dismas, but no, I had to get everybody.
Another abomination cleansed from our lands.
Whatever, I'll take the stress penalty. That can be healed later. Destroy these corpses. Now here's a good thing, buffs can actually stack, so right now we've got 12 dodge going. Well, 8 dodge. Yeah, that figures. Yeah, no, there's some error going on. Modded heroes tend to not have sound effects. Not entirely sure why, but they do.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Ah, here's the thing that you want to look out for. Antiques. This will only show up if you have an antiquarian in your party. They are worth a lot of money. And they can stack very high. Now, one other thing you should keep in mind. There's a button right here, sets your party back to what it was when you first started. Ah, good. Not so good. Alright, you need to get rid of these two guys as soon as possible so I can focus on these two. And a couple of those should do the trick.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Good, good, he's down. Defo. Yeah, those pulls can really screw up your party. Let's see, can I hit them? Any of them? No. I'm gonna need to start destroying corpses in that case. Though thankfully there are certain skills that can move your party around to your advantage. And sometimes those can actually help you. Believe it or not, despite the damage. Damn you and your tempting goblet.
Another one falls.
A shame it could not help you against a fist. Even at the highest damage, it wasn't enough. I should have gone with the festering vapors. Oh well, doesn't matter.
Annihilated.
Ooh, a rare antique. That's gonna net us a lot. And we have a holy fountain. No, holy fountain, holy water. Let's give it a try. Divine benefit. Healed us a lot, got rid of a lot of our stress. Ooh, perfect. Alright, battle down there. Okay, so we only need to go down and then backtrack a little. Trust me, scouting can be a massive lifesaver in this game. And I ain't just talking about time.
Unnerved, unbalanced.
Good thing we got that physical and stress heal earlier. I really hate bone courtiers. I'm just gonna skip. I'm gonna go for the Zealous Accusation, which is going to miss both of them. What are the odds? But at least my pit fighter's doing a lot of damage. Just pass.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Alright, I'm just gonna use some Festering Vapors on this guy. Not gonna do as much blight damage as my Plague Doctor can do.
Grievous injury. Palpable fear.
Yeah, why can't you go after the guy that has plus 24 dodge? There, that'll kill him next turn. Let's just focus on taking the big guy out.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
Alright, do we have any... No, we don't have any bandages. Oh well. Now, keep in mind, even when your hero's HP hits 0, that's not immediate death.
The light, the promise of safety.
But to be safe, I'm gonna have him eat some food. I'm gonna start with some Festering Vapors on this guy, just because of his protection. Only 1 damage, seriously. Pass. And let's get some Zealous. Now let's just go straight for the kill.
back to the pit.
Oh boy.
Injury and despondence set the stage for heroism or cowardice.
And more often than not, in my case, it's cowardice. Alright, do some damage to him, get rid of the corpse. He'll die on the next turn, so I don't care what happens. Alright, let's start buffing dodge.
A death by inches.
Take care of these guys, get them out of the way.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
I fully intend to. Alright, keep up in the dodge. Can't afford to have her pass. Just because her stress is getting so high. And I didn't do enough damage to lower it to the death threshold. But it doesn't matter.
Eradicated.
Ooh, rare antique.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
I mean, even if I were to abandon the quest, I'd still get a good chunk of change. More than enough to make up for what I've lost. Or what I would lose from not completing it. And the trinket isn't that big of a deal. Now, here's one thing I forgot to mention. There is a good thing about backtracking. It's that you don't use up as much torchlight as you would otherwise. We got a trap here. Yes, I know. 60%, 60%, 45%, 50%. Crap. Damn it.
Ancient traps lie in wait, unsprung and thirsting for blood.
Yes, stat penalties. Any further damage has a chance to kill them. That's what I was talking about earlier. Oh, I've got no one to blame on this but myself. Ooh, an alchemy table. If we use a torch on this, it'll essentially max out our light. But we don't really need that. Got another trap to deal with. Please? No.
Cruel machinations spring to life with a singular purpose.
Yeah. When heroes can't take the stress anymore, they become afflicted. This manifests in different behaviors and stat changes. Now, here's the thing. Reaching 100 stress doesn't always get them afflicted. Sometimes they will actually become virtuous. However, given the current state of the party, the fact that we still need 2 more battles, I think we're better off abandoning this quest. It's too risky, and I don't need a party wipe this early. So, unfortunately, we're just going to have to abandon it. We will still get everything, all the gold and everything we already have on us, but we just don't get the rewards up here.
You will endure this loss and learn from it.
Like it said at the beginning of the game, we will fail our quests. Thankfully, though, we did get 2 rare antiques, which more than make up for this. Not happy about the deeds, but oh well. Sickly, minus 10% disease resist. Yay. Torn rotator, that is not something we want on a Hellion. But we did get armor tinker, which is good. Unfortunately, they didn't get any resolve XP, so they didn't level up.
Curiosity interest and obsession. Mile markers on my road to damnation.
Indeed. However, the guild and the blacksmith has opened up. Now, this would be
The
where
bellows
we'd
blast once again. The forge stands ready to make weapons of war.
As I was saying, this would be where we would upgrade weapons and armor, but unfortunately, we still need to get the upgrading for that. Upgrading armor increases your character's dodge and HP. Yeah, leveling up doesn't do that. Leveling up just allows them to upgrade these things. Whereas upgrading your weapons will increase your damage, your speed, your crit base. Is that the same for all of them? Yeah, it is. And the guild is where we upgrade and
Make no
change.
mistake. We will face ever greater threats. Our soldiers must be ready.
Is where we upgrade and unlock abilities for them to use. However, first things first, these guys can't get anything because they're still level 0. And I need to get them into stress relief. Anything I should know? Anemic, winded. Okay. Let's see, let's toss him in the bar. Anything I should know here? Fear of Unholy, Torn Rotator. Can't do anything about that. I'll toss her in the gambling hall. And I'll spend some of these to upgrade the brothel.
All manner of diversion and dalliance await those who cross the threshold with coin in hand.
And Reynald will only pray, so let's upgrade the transept and get him in there. Thankfully, the caretaker isn't taking up a space there. Otherwise, I'd be screwed in that regard. But with that, guys, I'm going to end this episode of Friday Let's Play off here. If you guys like what you see, please leave a like, subscribe for future content, and don't forget to check the poll card up in the corner to vote for next week's Friday Let's Play. See you guys in the next episode.